So, my roommate and I, after watching Game 7 of the World Series last night, went immediately to watching Vsauce videos about language, probability, existence, a bunch of existential themes, because basically, look, I'm off the top, not the biggest professional sports fan, but I grew up in Boston. And when you grow up in Boston, or you grow up in really most major cities, you have this like thing that's ingrained in you, um, for the most part, generally speaking, because like to be a Red Sox fan was really tough. To be a Patriots fan was really tough. I don't really ever think I watched hockey, but I know being a Bruins fan was tough as well. Um, but I was alive, obviously, in 2004 to watch the Red Sox win the World Series. And I was living in Chicago in 2003. I think they were in the World Series again in 2008, I think. But in 2003 was when the fan caught the ball in game, was it 6 or 7? I think it was game 7. Game 6? I should do some research before I start these things. But the ball was technically in play. It wasn't actually a home run. The fan caught it, whatever. And what I found so fascinating about living in Chicago at that time was all the signage and shirts and billboards that went up about that were just like our curse is worse. And it was something I could appreciate coming from Boston because I was like, yeah, all right, I get this. And I have so many friends from Chicago who still live in Chicago. Um, and so like when you're watching this game unfold last night and you realize you're watching history, unfold, and then you watch a game get tied in the ninth inning, have a rain delay, and go into the 10th and just be won the way it was won, you recognize that, like, man, you can't write this. If you tried to write a story as complex as that game last night, no one would believe you. It would seem fake. It would seem exaggerated. It would seem aggressively over the top. Like, this wouldn't happen. But reality is so much more complex than that. And I went to bed last night thinking about two different phrases that art imitates life and truth is stranger than fiction. Those two phrases were just kind of rumbling through my head because it's like, yes, art does imitate life because imitation isn't quite the same. It's like, here's a presentation, but like if you tried to tell this story and not as a documentary in some other capacity, if you tried to tell a story that had this many sort of whatever, it would feel clunky and weird and not authentic. But when you watch it unfold in real life, it almost leads to, I think there have been several games that have led people to be like, oh, this is rigged. This doesn't have, and because our brains, I think, are wired to be like, this can't. Like, what is the probability? Which led me to watching Vsauce videos last night, just about, because basically at some point in that game last night, you had to think like, oh yeah, we're living in the Matrix and we've run out of code and this is the end of times. Also, there was a tweet from 2014 that predicted last night's game versus the Cubs and the Indians in the 2016 World Series going into overtime. That still confuses me completely. All right, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. That's as excited as I will ever get right here, right now, and last night about a major league sporting event. Unless it involves the Red Sox or the Patriots. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great week. I will see you tomorrow.